people don't realize that Indians, it was five tribes of Indians that actually were slave owners. You have the Choctaw, Cherokee, Seminole, the Chickasaw, and the Creek. All of them, even though they all had slaves, they all treated their slaves differently, and they all experienced the slavery a different way. Like the Seminoles was the only tribe that actually had free slaves on their land. So like, even though they were slaves, they gave them their own land. They was able to hunt. They was able to fend for themselves. They provided weapons to them. They actually joined them in a war. They actually did that, but they was slaves to them. They treated them as unequal. But they gave them their own stuff. They were not allowed to join any of the tribals, but they was able to have their own stuff. So the Seminoles was actually, out of all five, was the best of the tribes. You have the Cherokee, which is, everybody knows, is the biggest Native American tribe there is. They actually had the most slaves. They actually had over 5,000, I would say a little under 5,000 slaves up under them. But with the Cherokees in 1888, I want to say, they revolted. The slaves revolted and took their freedom back. For the Cherokee, now you have the Chickasaw, who they was more around white people, because when the white people came over here to America, they didn't know the land, so they used the Chickasaw to take them all over places. So anytime a slave would run away, they would have the Chickasaw track them down. And then what they did was they actually implemented the same type of slavery mentality that they had, and they started enslaving black people as well. And so they actually had plantations that they would make the black people pick cotton off of, or whatever they was growing at the time. You had the Choctaw, who was it wasn't the smallest, but they was one of the smallest groups, and they actually was just like the Chickasaw, except that when they actually freed their slaves, they actually allowed the slaves to, no, my fault, that's the Creek Indians. The Creek Indians, when they actually released their slaves, they actually allowed them, whoever wanted to stay can join the tribe. So the Creek slave, because the Creek slave was actually one of the smaller tribals out of all the five. But when what they did was they made a contract with the U.S. to release the slaves, and then the slaves were allowed to join the tribes if they wanted to, and that was the Creek slave. So out of all them five, so anybody out there who, if you do your family history and you find out that, you know, one of those, the Chickasaw, the Choctaw, the Creek, you have the Cherokee and the Seminole, each of those, they was actually slave owners of black people.
And also, you know, we learn in a book that Native Americans scalped you. Well, they didn't scalp each other. When they were bounty hunters, Native Americans were bounty hunters. They hunted slaves. And they were either had to bring back the slave itself for 25 cents. You got to think that was a lot of money then, 25 cents. If you brought back the slave, it was 25 cents. But if you brought back their scalp with the ear,
yeah.
you got 20 cents for that. So scalping did not start from a war and they're fighting and they scalped a white man. No. The scalping came from the bounty hunter part.
It was like when when the bounty went on, they said dead or alive. You know, it was more dead. It was more alive than it was dead. Same thing. The Indians had different, because they tracked differently, and so when they told them to go out there, it was like, okay, you can either bring the whole body back, or just bring that piece back right there, and we good. So
that's where scalping came from. So when we think that one way, they'll teach you when they were fighting with their tomahawks and all that, what they taught you that was their way of killing you. Well, no, it wasn't. Their way was told to them. You bring back the scalp with the ear, because the scalp alone didn't prove you African American. your ears, because our ears are more darker, and they quote unquote said they were a different shape, but they're not a different shape. We know our ears are ears, but that was thought then. So when people claim, reason why I asked Ray to talk about that, when people claim all these things, know what you're saying, because some people real quick can say, "Oh yeah, I'm part Native American," and they just saying it because it sounded cool today. But you ask them what tribe, you ask them what tribe. Well, they're gonna tell you, "Oh yeah, this." But then you ask them the history, and I don't know.
And they don't.
I don't know.
And a lot of them don't. Like a lot of us don't, because a lot of us hear what our parents said or hear what our grandparents said, and we don't track our history like we should. We don't. I mean, because most everybody gonna tell you we came from slaves, and now we're here. Well, we actually have a rich history before that and after that. But everybody gonna tell you, oh yeah, where they came from? Oh, most of them came from Mississippi or Alabama or down in the South. No, actually, like I said, the Cherokee and Choctaw were Northern Indians. So yeah, so all of them didn't come from the South. They was actually Northern Indians, and and when they was released, when they was freed, that they actually went up north and joined those tribes. And them tribes took them in and made them into slave. Like with the Cherokee, they didn't actually do like the Choctaw and all them did. They actually just did. They just didn't get them. They didn't have the same rights as everybody else. So they actually treated them like slaves, but not with all the you working on this and doing all that. But they never had the rights. They couldn't do anything, and they had to So when they escaped or when they went up north, what they did was they made them work off whatever they had to work off in order to become free. And that's how they enslaved them. If they was like, okay, well, if you want to be free, then you got that whole field right there, you work there for the next 2 years and you're good to go. And they would do that, or they went out and tracked, or they went out and build, and they made them do all those in order to become free.
And that's why recently, if you pay attention, the federal government sued the Cherokee Nation because on their rolls of people were slaves. Their names of slaves were on their rolls, and they were because that Native American raped the black female and had a child, so that child became part of the rolls. Well, the federal government told them if they didn't remove those names, they would take away some of their funding, because that would have been money they would have had to give to their descendants all the way down, which would have equaled some cash and some scholarships. So they threatened them to take it off. As of now, the Cherokee Nation has not removed those names. I think they're not removing them because, just not to say they want the money, because we're not getting the money. We haven't got any of it. But just to say no, they won't. But the federal government wants them to take those names off their rolls, because they keep documents that nobody else keeps. They keep who all their people are. They keep all who their slaves were. They keep all those things. And it's a fight. But when we say we are part of, we need to recognize what we're saying. Because like I said, you got one of my lady works with us every day. She goes, oh yeah, that's the Native American in me. And I look at her like, okay. I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, and I'll give you another little fact. You know how they always say that we was brought here on boats, as all the black people brought here on boats as slaves and everything. Well, if you think about it, the Seminole Indians in the 18th century had what they called the Florida Wars. It was a battle of native tribes, the Florida War, called the Seminole Wars. The Seminoles owned slaves. So that means we was already here prior to them bringing us over here on boats. So we was actually here first. If you do your history properly, that's one thing they won't tell you, because they'll tell you we wasn't here, but you can't have one history saying that we had a Florida Wars in the 18th century, and Seminoles owned slaves, but we wasn't here. They brought us here on boats. So again, that's another history thing that a lot of people won't tell you. But yeah, we was here prior to that, before they actually brought us on boats. So.
But it goes to say that what we need to do is go back and read and research. We're not a lost people. We've never been lost. But what has happened is we've allowed the schools to dictate how we think. We even have our homes reflecting opposite. Now, Jamie knows, because here, out of this place, Jamie's the only one been to my house. My house is all African American. Mm-hmm. Every picture in my house is African American.
Every picture in my house.
Everything. Because I draw mine. I draw mine. I don't go purchase. All right, I'm like, why I purchase when I can do it myself? But I'm the same way. If you go in my house, it's everything from the front to the back. I don't even. But you know, that's just me. But to me, your home should reflect you. Our home should reflect us. I know at school, and I went I didn't even think about that. You know, I work with Detroit people, and they were doing the Pledge of Allegiance. I don't do the pledge. And one of the little girls had on a flag. So one of our students, she said, "What's that?" I said, "It's a United States flag." She go, "Why it's on her shirt?" I said, "Because they have shirts with the flag on them." I said, "They have shirts with a flag. There's a flag right there in the classroom." I'm talking about like, she said, "You have a flag?" No. You know, she goes, "You have a flag in your house?" Not that kind. She goes, you know, she's looking at me, she goes, "So what kind do you have in your house?" Now she's 3, but she's 3 going on 15. You know, so I'm like, how do I explain? So I said, well, I have a African flag in my house to symbolize that I'm African American. I said, but I did my research, and my dad, I said, I did my research, and, you know, I said, because my dad told me he was from the islands. My dad was actually born in Botswana. I said, so I have a blue and white flag because that's the colors there. So she looked at me, she said, but you don't have that flag in your house? No. Now, on S3, she went home and told her parents, Miss Phyllis don't have that flag in her house. She got an African flag and then an African flag, which was, you know, in her little language, you know, but she was able to go home and relate that because her mother let me know. She said, "You don't have a flag." I said, "No." She says, "Okay." So her mother has to go. She told her mother, "Can we have an African flag in our house?" She said, because Miss Phyllis said we're African American. So this little girl, 3, is going home asking for an African American flag. She has no idea of the depth of what she's saying. She just knows that I disconnected myself from that flag and connected myself to that one. But like I said, I think your kid's house, your house, should reflect their heritage, because you know what? That makes your kids ask questions. If they grow up and see all this in the house, why we got this in our house? Answer it. Why we got this in the house? Answer it. You know, because, and I did that because I grew up that way. Yeah, living with my mother and father, you had no choice. But I was looking at Essence magazine, and Ray, you'd remember the magazine more than they would, because you remember they used to have a picture of a little black boy with a cape.
I say you just said I was old.
I didn't say that. Did I say he was old?
She said, "Ain't nobody here gonna remember it but me or her."
But you know, in the Essence magazine, they used to have a picture of a little black boy with a cape, with a cloak on, looking at a white Superman. Yeah. That picture stuck in my head because
I remember that.
Anybody else would have said, "Cool picture." That's not what I saw. That is not what I saw. Me, why did he have to look in the mirror and see a white Superman? You know what I mean? Of all pictures to see, he ain't gonna save him. So to me, that taught him that this is how I have to emulate to be okay. So I took that picture as more than just a picture. I'm like, oh no, wait, I can't have my kids growing thinking this. No, I can't. And I quickly made sure, no, I can't. And that goes back to our history, our heritage, and being strong in who we are.
Yeah, I do the same thing, Miles. I mean, don't get me wrong. I am a DC Marvel fan. I am a comic book geek. But as far as heroes and everything in my home, I don't even play the Santa Claus thing. I don't even play. My wife always get on me, babe. Ain't nobody getting credit. Ain't nobody getting credit but me. I work hard. I put in a lot of work. And I ain't nobody finna slap. Cause I'm gonna tell you, and I'm like this. It's funny because if you look at it, if you even seen the jingle. Everything about Santa Claus is criminal. I'm sorry. You think about it. He slides down your chimney while you sleep. You checking in on your kid while they in bed. I'm just saying, you think about everything, you think about every, you know, it just, you know, you think about it, you sit back like, wait a minute, like, wait, he do what? Like, how you know if I'm good or bad? What? You stalking me? You know, come on. That's why I said, people don't pay attention to the stuff that they do or put in your head. You know, I'm like, wait a minute, because now you just mad. Okay, now, if a black Santa came down your chimney, they gonna shoot him. They gonna shoot him because they're like, wait, he was coming down the chimney. Wait a minute, he had the same suit on. He had this. It was, you know what I'm saying? He had the same suit on, but it can be breaking and entering for him. See, so again,
like you wake up in the morning and the toys appear in your house.
Yeah, you know, no,
So
I brought them toys. Yeah, we don't play that. My grandfather told me that a long time ago. I remember the first time he bought the toy. He brought them in, and I said, Granddad, I said, Santa gave you the toy. He said, no, I bought these toys. He said, I want you to understand, he crushed all them dreams that night. We are not about to play that in this house. And I was like, what? He said, yeah. I said, okay. Ever since then, hey, Granddad buy my toys. I know who. I ain't sitting on nobody's lap. And I pull my granddad's sleeve and be like, Granddad, we call them Pops. And I'll be like, Pops, this was me and my brother one right here. That was it. I knew that. I knew who to be good to. You know, I was like, hey, ain't no list. That's true. But again, but that's how. But in our society and in our community, these are things that, as simple as they seem,
right, they have everlasting effect.
They have an everlasting effect on our children and what they perceive as being heroes or somebody to look up to or somebody to model themselves after. We have, and that's why I said we got to stop certain things in our community and have them, again, my kids, and like I always tell my wife, I'm going to be my kids' first hero. I'm going to be my kids' first everything. Whatever they look up, whatever they see, that's the image I want them to see me as.
Yeah.
Like I always tell people, my daughter, I'm going to be an example for the type of man that she's going to want in her home. That's what I do. That's what my job is. My job is to make sure that when my boys grow up, that I'm that man that they can they know. Because again, we all gonna go our separate path. We all gonna do the thing that we want to do. As my young lady right here was just saying, we all come from good backgrounds. Some of us do, but we still decide to do what we're gonna do. But we have to instill stuff in them so they know how to get back.
Yeah.
And that's what we have to do in our community. Whether you have a father in the home, whether you have a mom in the home, I mean, there's somebody in that community that if you need to look up somebody in your community. You know, go to somebody in your community that you think is a good role model, and then you talk to them. You model yourself after them. Don't look on TV. Don't turn on VH. Please don't turn on VH1. Please don't. Nothing on VH1. Nothing on VH1 is for us at all. I please don't. All that the ratchet TV stuff, man.
On television, as we call, break it down. Television.
Yeah. I'm like, man, please don't. I mean, whatever y'all do. I mean, that's good if that's your getaway kind of thing. You know, everybody got that little. You know, ain't nothing wrong with a little rat. You know, if you want to watch it for a minute, but don't involve your kids. Because everything ain't for your children. I see people that sit back and talk to their children be like, yeah, they was doing. I was like, wait a minute, why you got the child watching this? Like, no, come on now. Come on now. It's something else on TV. I could have just got together and watched.
But also we need to teach and reinforce, and I'm going to use Jamie and again, reading. All my kids, including my adopted kids, learned one thing we was going to talk about sometime. You're going to be reading a book somewhere.
Reading.
And not only that, not only reading, I gave you a time limit. It ain't going to take you no week to read a book. That's ridiculous. No, we're going to read books. And we need to go back and instill that in our kids. Now, some people said they need to read a paperback book versus a book on a tablet. Me personally, I don't care how you read the book. No. If it's reason, I'm gonna tell you this, but I'm gonna say this. I like paperback books, but one, I travel a lot. So as I travel, I want to read. So reading that point, reading a book at that point, it's easier to read on a tablet than it is to have to carry that book with me because then I can care one thing that. But if I'm at home, yes, I'm gonna read a book, and I'm gonna read a real book. So we need to instill reading both ways, is what I'm saying. Don't tell the child only read a book. Oh no, it might be a time where he needs to read it online. And if that comes to it, read it online.
If it's something that you can get online or that you can only get online, that's different.
Read it.
But see, in my house, Monday through Thursday, there are no electronics. None at all. No TV, no tablets, no phones, nothing. Monday through Thursday, you go outside and play. You make up stuff. Be creative. Do stuff. Play with your brother and sister. But Monday through Thursday, you're gonna read. You're gonna figure stuff out, and that's what I do because, like I said, some of these kids now, you take them away from a TV or you take the laptop out of it. I was at the store the other day, and the little boy had to be no more than 5, and he's sitting on a tablet, just sitting there, ain't looked up one time, and the mom walked away, she walked off, and he's still standing there, and I'm like, how long either one of them gonna realize that both of them gone? And then she actually came back in the store. I guess she thought he was behind him. His face in the tablet, he didn't see nothing. She walked out, and then she had to run back in because he was still sitting there like this, just on the thing. And I'm like, see, that's way too much electronics. That's when you can't even focus on what's going on around you. That's way too much. So like my kids, on Sunday, they all bring everything in. They sit on the TV stand, and that's it. Monday through Thursday, you go outside and play. You have a good time. Enjoy your childhood. Enjoy yourself. Have fun. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I don't even mind. You do your work. But Monday through Thursday, we're going to focus on work. We're going to focus on reading. We're going to focus on all other stuff. Because again, I need them to have that balance. I don't need them they're facing tablets and electronics all day long. And their attention span is like 12 seconds. But you tell them to do something, they want to hurry up and do it so they can get back to whatever they was doing. See, Monday through Thursday, they know it ain't nothing.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
You ain't in a hurry to get back to anything.
But also what I want parents to do is to go back and look at their child's school history book. Most school districts bought a book made from one company. And if you read that company's history book, which I'll say most parents will tell me they have not. I have no kids in school. I have grandkids, but I have no kids in school. But I read the history book because of the position that I have. And when I read that history book, it talked about the triangular trade. Well, there's a word missing in the word triangular trade. It's called slave trade. So the word slave is not in that trade, in that book. So I'll ask you, whose fault is that? It's ours. It is. It's not the school district's fault. It's our fault because we didn't check that book. We didn't say nothing about it. And then I looked in the book. I read the whole thing. And if it wasn't the school's book, I would have thrown it in the middle of the street, but the school's book couldn't do that. So anyway, I'm looking through the rest of the book. I'm like, okay, they must have some more surprises for me. I get through the book, and then it tells me the slaves were brought to South Carolina because they were experts in growing rice. Really? I didn't know that. Really? I didn't know that there was a hiring going on, for people in Africa.
I didn't know the boat port of it said we hired for.
We know how to grow rice. We come over here. I didn't know. You didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that either.
It's in the 5th grade history book.
Did it go on a cruise? Did they come on a cruise?
No, they were brought over here because they're expertise in growing rice.
Because if you hiring, then they should have been a luxury boat that came brought over.
No, they just bam, because they were good at growing rice.
Oh, okay, my bad.
So I didn't know that.
Man,
so that made it sound pretty cool. They were experts in rice growing. So they were brought here just to grow rice. I wanted do they know that?
Yeah, because see, that's the trick that got them on.
There you go, yeah.
See, that was the trick.
There you go. You're good at growing rice. Come on.
Come on. Hey. Anybody want to grow some rice? I got you. We want to take care of y'all.
And then I kept reading. Wait. Then I kept reading because I realized this book was getting quite interesting. So I got to another part of the book. And it said, slaves lived in a colony, and they were happy in the colony till one was sold. Wow. So, I'm now looking for the colony.
Well, technically, that was almost correct. Because we was happy until one was sold off.
Yeah, but the colony wasn't.
But it was the colony. I'm just saying. Technically, they had something there. Yeah, we was happy for a minute, and then, wait a minute. You starting off rob your see, you can't even. It's like, but then it's starting off. But the colony?
They lived in a colony. They were happy in the colony.
In the colony, what was the colonies?
I see. They were off from the plantations. So you didn't know that. Well, it's in the kids' history book. your social studies history book.
Is it?
It's in there. Yes.
I might have to
see. There you go. It's some quite interesting things in that book I learned.
But I'll tell you. But you know what? I'm gonna tell you. When my son was, and I'm gonna say the school too because I don't care.
Oh no.
When my son went to Palo Alto, they yeah, I don't. You can take that out if you want to later.
That's
on,
there.
but I don't care. Yeah, my son went to Palo Alto, and he they had these, the Black History Month stuff, and they ask you to do the project, the Black History Project,
right?
And they give you the list of the same ones they give you every year, So I told my son, I said, no, we're not going to do that. Mm-hmm. I said, no, we're not going to do that. I told him I'm going to do something different.
Right.
So I did this. I helped him do this. I helped him do this this thing where we did Black Inventors. Mm-hmm. We did a whole thing on Black Inventors. And so I had him take it up to the school. And he was told that he couldn't put that up because some of the stuff on there wasn't true.
Oh.
Yeah. And,
really?
Yeah.
You didn't have the colony on there?
No, I have a colony. My bad. Yeah, I didn't have the colony or
the rice
or the rice trip. Yeah,
right.
But,
okay. See,
because we didn't invent the boat.
No.
That brought us over. So
no.
I didn't. But yeah. So
actually, Jewish people built the boat.
Yeah,
I didn't say that.
they actually told my son that he couldn't put up his project because some of the facts on there was not true. Oh. So, me being who I am, and for those who know who I am, I had to go up to the school, and it wasn't pleasant. I'm not gonna lie, because my thing, first of all, you're not gonna call my son a liar,
right?
And second of all, just because you don't know doesn't make it not true. And my thing is, if you're gonna teach Black history to Black children, then maybe you should know Black history. But that actually happened. And I found it to be appalling, actually, that a teacher would tell a student, my thing was, okay, well, why you just didn't check it out first,
right,
before you even said anything to him? If you didn't know, then check it out. But she said that to him, and then it bothered me. But I'm glad he don't go there anymore. But that was actually opened my eyes to the fact that a lot of teachers only know the list that they give them to study. That's it. And which bothers me. So that's why I always teach my kids about Black history. I taught Black history for almost 7 years. I'm big on Black history. I love, because again, my thing is we can't become the people that we want to be until we know who we were. Right. And they're not going to tell you who we were because they don't want you to know how rich and diverse your history is. That's right. And I can sit here probably all day long and tell you things that we invented or we created that people will be like what? We did what? We actually did that? Like, we use that every day. Yeah. Everything from the light bulb, the light bulb, to the super soaker. A lot of people didn't know that. The super soaker.
In fact, he had to sue Mattel to
the video game cartridges that I use today was invented by Jerry Lawson. His software is the one that developed the video cartridges for video game software that we use today. I'm telling you, this is what I do. Yeah. But stuff that you guys use on a regular basis that people don't even know about, train systems. Black man invented the telegraph that can go from train to train in order to improve safety faster on the train systems. I ain't gonna tell you that at all. So again, this is why I say it's stuff that we've done that they don't put out at all.
But they don't want
to. They don't want to put out because again, they don't want. They want you to know them same 10 people they give you every year and think this is your history right here. This is as far as we come, and now we got Obama, so we're gonna throw him in there. Yeah. So you got Obama, and then the other 10 people as your resident, as your new elected resident would tell you. Yeah, because I don't say president. your new elected resident says, Frederick Douglass.
Oh yeah,
he's doing big things right now.
Yeah, because I thought he was dead.
hey, I'm just saying.
I thought Frederick Douglass. I went back and checked to see if he was dead.
I had to Google it.
Yeah, because
had to Google it. I had to find out myself. Like, wait a minute, now I'm still dead. Like, man, maybe I'm doing something I don't know about. But
I thought he maybe came back in spirit or something.
Yeah. So again, people sit down with your children, and that's my thing. Go. I mean, you have all this stuff at when I grew up, we didn't have anything.
Yeah.
I didn't know about Malcolm X, honestly, until I was 15. That was the first time somebody introduced me to his book. I was 15 years old when I read his book. When I grew up, you had the regular, you had Martin Luther King, Frederick Douglass, and George Washington Carver. Those were your big ones that they talked about. You be like, okay, hey, then somebody gave me the Malcolm X, but I was like, wait a minute, there's a lot of us out there?
Yeah.
And I've been doing my history since then. And again, so this is stuff that we have to do with our kid. When you got downtime, when you're not doing something, don't just put a tablet in his face. Put something on the tablet that he can learn. Put it on put some Black history he can read, and then ask him about it. Don't just let him read and then walk away. Ask him about it. Sit down and talk about it. Ask him what he learned, who he learned today. Matter of fact, give your kids at least 5 people a week if you want to start off with that, and ask them, who did you learn about this week? Because again, this right here is going to build up our community. When your kids know where they come from, they know that they can go farther.
That's true. I want to thank you, Ray, for coming on. And
my pleasure, my lady.
And I want you to come back again, because the other person was supposed to be here at a family emergency. So I need you to come back again with him and do some more Black history.
You just like trouble.
Well, why? No, it's to hear.
Okay.
We hear a lot from women.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So we're trying to give men some props.
Well, I appreciate you. Occasionally, we like a little pat on the back, We won't do it often, but
So we trying to, we try to give back to y'all just a little bit, because it's always women. It's always women. But I want to thank everyone for listening to Kids Community Connection this morning, and I hope you learned a lot. And we still need more to learn. And like I said, I'm challenging everybody to go get your child's social studies history book by Pearson's. I want you to hear me, Pearson's. Pearson's. And the reason why the districts bought
that one more time for me?
Pearson's.
Okay, all right.
And the reason we bought into Pearson's because we parents didn't say nothing about it. We didn't complain when that book came out because we didn't look, because we didn't read, because we did the thing that you should never do in life, assume. So let's break it down, and we know what that meant. So since we need to quit. So I'm challenging everybody to go get Pearson's. 5th grade. I want you to get the 5th grade social studies book. I want you to go to the nearest elementary school and get that book. And I want you to really read it. And don't do it like I wanted to do, throw it in the street. I threw it on the floor a couple of times. I did do that. But I want you to go out and read it. I challenge you, and I challenge you to smile when you read that book. Because you need to know that everything is in there because we didn't challenge that book. So, like I said, I want to thank you for listening to Kids Community Connections, 103.1 Kids FM. I want you to always remember, you cannot lead a positive life with a negative mind. And we'll talk to you next Sunday.